What's going on, guys? It's Frito here. Tons of content to break down. Our previous video talked about Overwatch going free to play October 4th, the blog post explaining that. In this one, I want to break down the trailers for the free to play announcement as well as Junker Queen to look at the new hero and other things we should expect that they're planning to pack in, what expectations we should have for that October 4th release. More of this will be clarified, I'm sure, June 16th on the event announcement. So also be looking out for that and our continued coverage on what's going on. First up, I want to look at the confirmed new hero Junker Queen, but keep in mind that the Play Overwatch website on the beta section had a screenshot that seemed to drop a hint that there'd be two new heroes coming to the next beta, one tank and one support. Based on Junker Queen's playstyle already, I think it's safe to say she's probably more a tank, let's say an Orisa archetype. They kind of have similar abilities. Let's take a look at them now. Now, there was a leak on Junker Queen's abilities a few months ago, and it actually looks like it's panning out to probably be mostly correct. Here we can see her shotgun called a scattergun, which maybe is like the Scout from Team Fortress 2, which is what leads me to believe she's more of that new brawler rush in close range archetype. The serrated blade melee weapon has a bleeding effect on it, dealing damage over time, and an ability where it acts like a boomerang. You throw it and call it back, booping any enemy on its way. Pretty specific, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was iterations on this mechanic because the devs have already said publicly a thing like Doomfist having a mini slow effect on his slam might be removed in the next beta. In fact, I think they confirmed it would be. So these extra abilities I wouldn't get married to because it's probably still in development. But a cool thing about this blade, it reminds me of the God of War remake with a similar call back your weapon type mechanic. Often Blizzard devs like to look to other games like this and say, wow, could we have a hero have that ability? And that's what this sounds like to me. What else it does on top of that, let's wait and find out. Another leaked ability here says Rallying Call or Battle Cry, ability that buffs herself and her allies. It gives her an additional 200 HP and her allies an additional 100 HP. It also gives a 30% speed buff, which is unclear whether this applies to allies or just herself. Now, while that sounds kind of supportive, keep in mind that the Blizzard devs have toyed around with these AoE type abilities in different contexts. For example, in the 132 experiment, they gave Roadhog a bit of a team AoE heal and mini fortify type ability, and it would make sense to me for a tank to need to be able to buff her team in some way if she's not going to offer any protection. The Carnage ability deals damage to all enemies in front of her with a bleeding effect, which reminds me similar to a lingering effect they gave Doomfist, of course. Applying a slow, applying a bleed, applying status effects seems like something tanks do in Overwatch 2. He also has an adrenaline shot passive ability that heals all damage that is done through bleeding effect. That's lifesteal. So this is making her Reaper, right? If Reaper played like a main tank in Overwatch 2, this gives her very similar properties. The leak says it could be extended to fire or dynamite damage or poison damage too. It also could be a conversion from bleeding damage into HP, as there seems to be confusion over the translation because the original leak for this was in French. Her Rampage Ultimate is said to send her charging in front to deal anti-healing to enemies and a bleeding effect, all the while she still has her own passive where she'll gain health through doing this. So pretty much like Death Blossom. The post does say that Fefe, the former Overwatch League coach that leaked this, says this could be a support, but thinking more so a tank. Keep in mind these leaks are from months ago where we weren't really sure about the nature of Overwatch 2 so much yet. Now, from watching the footage, it seems pretty clear that a lot of those abilities seem confirmed. The leak doesn't emphasize is that she has like a devastating melee attack, it looks like. Does she actually one-shot an Orisa with a melee? Probably not. Maybe it's just like a big spike of damage on a cooldown, or it's like Rhine Hammer worth of damage and sort of a super melee. I wonder if her scatter shot gun has like a low capacity or a high downtime, meaning that once you get in the fray, you'll probably want to be using the melee attack more. Now, the second character I think is the support we'll be getting in beta 2. This Fox character, as it majestically gallops down this road in Kanizaka, leaves a trail of almost like magical, mythical energy. And it seems like her team is following along with it, which makes me think this is a support character. Maybe she's making a path for them to gain some sort of boost. Is it a speed boost alternative? The devs have kind of been talking about that. In the recent interview with ML7 SVB, they were a little coy about this issue, almost asking in theory, how would you make a speed boost alternative? But it doesn't have to be that. Maybe this is the way she heals, assuming it's a she, or whatever type of mythical creature this is. The spirit also like disappears into the stair, like it's transforming away. Now, the hero might not be that fox, but instead like control that fox, and that's a summon. We've talked a lot about summoning heroes potentially in the game. Another word that the devs brought up is pets, which are any deployable type kit in the game. That's like their coding language for it. So things that sort of live their own life outside of the player's control, like a turret, Bob, and even somewhat Diva's mech, I suppose, has some aspects of this as I understand it in terms of how the engine interacts with it. The hero themselves might be a summoner that casts this fox as an aid who runs along, creating visual map changes that their team can utilize. That's my best guess, and I think it's a pretty good one. But I won't speculate further as I'm pretty certain that we'll hear exactly what this is June 16th. Now, the final thing I want to look at is what else was confirmed in the trailer. What does it seem we should expect for October 4th? We've got all these betas before then, but what is the deadline they're setting? What do they actually have? What is Overwatch 2.0 free to play? Well, there's a few things I noticed. One, it seems like all the player model overhauls will be done. The game will have its new look, updated engine, and in the trailer we saw a lot of the new models that haven't been seen before. Fans of other shooter games may have noticed that there is a inspect weapon animation, as McCree seems to be just twirling around the Peacekeeper in between battle, Doomfist as well inspecting his power gauntlet, Lucio pointing at the sonic amplifier, and Symmetra, the photon projector. You can almost bet that that is going to be part of the free-to-play monetization. Further customization, cosmetic type stuff. Old Overwatch fans might be upset if these cost money to get, but that might be the reality in a free-to-play game. Of course, there's new skins that'll be included in the Founders Pack if you already own Overwatch 1. And here there's even a visual emote of Orisa trash talking. I don't know if she just automatically does that after killing somebody with a spear or if that's something you can do extra, but that's really awesome. I feel like they took the Overwatch player base's tendency to do things like do the hello voice line with the little flick of a hand gesture and then made like way more versions of that for the characters. So there might be a lot of these type of gestures that you can do, and that would be awesome. The last one that I'm not too sure about, because I'll admit the Overwatch lore isn't my strongest suit, but this skin pack with all these members of Overwatch seems to indicate that there is going to be almost tribal skins in the game. Of course, we know about things like Blackwatch, main Overwatch, Talon, and we expect Overwatch 2 to progress that further. This looks like a skin pack related to a PvE mission or something in the Overwatch lore. So maybe that's something that's more common as we start to experience PvE. Now, I say PvE because there was kind of no mention of that necessarily. We know this is the official early release, which I'm expecting to be the PvP part of it, because I didn't see anything that seemed to indicate any Talon, any Omnic Sector robots blowing up, no mention of RPG, none of that. Reinhardt does have a different voice line for Hammer Down, which I'm like, wait, does that mean there's like alternate versions of the same ultimate like they're supposed to be in the PvE? But I doubt that. My expectation that October 4th is the transition into Overwatch PvP 2.0, and we'll learn about when the PvE extent of it will be added on later on. But for now, we should expect Overwatch 2 to just be a big Overwatch update. And well, is this substantial enough? Considering it's a free update, I think so. If you don't currently own Overwatch, you could just wait till the 4th and play this for free with everybody else across all platforms, mind you. But if you do decide to get into Overwatch 1, you will get the Founders Pack, which includes some exclusive skins. I did go ahead and check on the Battle.net website. It does look like the Standard and Legendary Edition of Overwatch 1 are on sale. So for $15 or $20, you can either get just the base game or the Legendary Edition. And I guess that's not so bad for a Founders Pack if you think about it. A lot of people rail on Overwatch being an expensive game, but it's on sale all the time. So I say take the plunge because the game looks like it's going on the right track from as far as I'm concerned. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave it a like. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to actually get notified when our upcoming videos covering Overwatch 2.0 will be coming out. You guys know I love this game. We got a lot more content to make. It's going to be a fun year, I think, starting now. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. Catch you guys next time.